I recently posted on social media that we have seen a lot of the younger guys, especially in the rookie class, take over in New Orleans over the past few weeks. But there's one that comes into mind in particular who is still patiently waiting to be unleashed. And so in today's video, I want to discuss why the New Orleans Saints need to put Danny Stutsman on the field and give him more reps. And before we have the conversation, I want you to put on your head coaching hat. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Should Danny Stutsman get more reps on the Saints defense? You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. In case you guys didn't know, Danny Stutsman, friend of the program. Steve, if you're watching, hope you are enjoying and hope the family's doing well. We got to have him on the show a while back for an interview right before training camp. And now we're going to talk about him again because this guy right here is going to be a difference maker for the New Orleans Saints. It's just a matter of time when that will be. So Danny Stutsman patiently waiting in the linebacker depth chart to be unleashed on this Saints defense. And in case you guys forgot what happened or how he became a member of the Black and Gold, he was a fourth-round pick out of Oklahoma. 112th overall. The minute this pick came in, I was jumping with joy. I knew from the moment that draft card was turned in, this guy would be the one who helped save this Saints defense. And for what it's worth, I think that he had a tremendous preseason. I think that he was really, really promising throughout the summer. And a lot of reports around him were very good, saying that he was quick, he was fast, he was everything that the New Orleans Saints wanted him to be, a productive playmaker with an extremely high motor, and somebody who is an excellent leader that takes a lot of pride in the prep work of getting ready for game days. And so we discussed this topic here today on Patiently Waiting for Danny Stutsman. But if you want to get to know a little bit more about Stutsman and you want to know about what he has learned up to the point of training camp, and then you want to see what else he had to say and kind of his thoughts going into the season, there's a lot of really cool context. You're going to love this, and you're going to absolutely learn a lot in this video. So we'll link the interview in the comments and description once again because I do think it's fun to revisit that content, especially considering now we're a few weeks into this so we can see like, oh yeah, I actually see exactly what you're talking about in some of those moments. So I think that Danny Stutsman needs to be unleashed sooner rather than later, and there's a plethora of reasons why. But this is a player who I think, like I said, could be a massive difference maker on this Saints defense. And in my personal opinion, the Saints defense has been what's actually kept them in games. The offense needs to be more opportunistic and score more points, but the defense, in my opinion, outside of the Seahawks game, has done a really, really good job keeping New Orleans in games. And Danny Stutsman, I think, is a player who has excellent traits that can help him hold up as or in pass coverage, but I also think that he's a really, really strong player against the run. And in college, he was 9th in tackles in Oklahoma football history, which is crazy considering the history of the Oklahoma Sooners. He was a consensus All-American in 2024. He was a Butt-Kiss Award finalist in 2024. He was first team All-SEC in 2024 as well. He was first team All-Big 12 in 2023. I mean, you can see the stats on your screen. This guy was a freak. 3 years in a row of over 100 straight tackles. I mean, this player is an absolute animal. And I think that his usage has been really, really interesting considering we haven't really seen him get on the field outside of special teams. Now, it's worth noting there's no snaps in field goal or in field goal block. I think there's obvious reasons for that. But he has been very, very active in the kick return and punt return and then kick coverage, punt coverage numbers as well. And you see the number right here. There's a lot of discussion. He hasn't played. He hasn't done anything. Yeah, that's true, but technically he actually has played 4 snaps. They're all run defense snaps against the Seattle Seahawks in Week 3. But that being said, 4 snaps for a player like Danny Stutsman? Come on, man. Brandon Staley, what are we doing? Like, come on. I think that he has so much more upside than what we've been even really gotten to see. I think he's a player that definitely is going to be a contributor. And for what it's worth, I also think that he could bring a lot of energy and a lot of swagger to this defense as well. And I think that that's area of this team that could use a little bit more of that confidence. And with Danny Stutsman being on the field, you got the caller. You know that he's going to be a problem, and you know that he is going to cause opposing offensive coaches headaches, and he's going to strike fear into opposing quarterbacks. And I want to have a conversation about potentially moving on from Pete Werner, because how are you going to start Danny Stutsman if you don't have an open spot? So we're going to talk about what the Saints could do with Pete Werner here in one moment. But first things first, I want to encourage you to help us get to 100,000 subscribers. Not today, but here in the next few months, we're trying to get to that next milestone. Our goal for this video, 51,300 people or 51,300 total, which means we just need like 15 people to hit the sub button for free Saints content. I know that there's 15 Saints fans out there who watch the show on a daily basis who are not locked in for 100% free. So be sure to subscribe. The road to 100K is on, and you can help us out. Now, the linebacker room in New Orleans is a spot that, in my opinion, was a big strength of this team. But I would be lying to you if I said that I've been overly impressed with Pete Werner. And I want to take a second to actually focus on the depth, because I really like Isaiah Stallbird. I think Jalen Ford has a lot to show as well. But I can tell you right now, I'm a firm believer Demario Davis is actually not the issue whatsoever. I think Demario Davis has been one of the best linebackers in the league. He's been one of the most consistent players for this team. And although you may sit here and say he's getting old, he's losing his step, blah, 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 that's not true. He's playing really good football. 82.1 overall PFF grade. That's 8th among all linebackers. I mean, come on now. He's playing really good football. But I will say, you do have to make a decision, because Pete Werner is a player that the Saints invested in to take the steps and take the leaps to develop, but he hasn't quite done that, at least to the extent that I know a lot of us would like to see it happen. So we're going to have a conversation about potentially moving on from Pete Werner, cutting, trading, and keeping him. We're going to have a discussion around all three topics. But first things first, got to take a moment to thank today's presenting sponsor, and that is Chubby's Shorts. I absolutely love Chubby's. I've been rocking their gear since I was in high school, and I will continue to rock their gear for years and years down the road. It doesn't matter how old or young you are, Chubby's is here to make you look good and feel even better. The leaves are turning, the temps are dropping, and the weekend air is getting nice. So, fellas, I know your lady is going to be dragging you to pumpkin patches, fall photo shoots, and all sorts of other stuff. But that doesn't mean that you have to pack away the fun. Chubby's is here to make sure you look good, feel better with their soft, stretchy, fall-ready staples built for maximum comfort and minimal effort. And fellas, I know that your fall wardrobe needs an update, and Trizzy's always got the hookup. So head on over to chubbyshorts.com/chatsports, and now you will get 20% off your order, and that's for a limited time. So click the link in the comments or in the description to get geared up today with Chubby Shorts and take advantage of that brand new 20% off deal. There's a new comfort collection that you guys got to check out featuring the Everywhere Jogger. It's a perfect pant for impromptu naps, weekend errands, and everything in between. And I'll tell you what, Maddie and I have some fun dates planned over the next few weeks. And I'm going to be wearing my Everywhere joggers. You guessed it, everywhere, because they are meant to be worn everywhere. So whether you're layering up for tailgates, lounging through lazy Sundays, or tuning into a Saints Now by Chat Sports watch party, Chubby's is here to make sure that you're comfortable and you have maximum comfort with minimal effort. Head on over to chubbyshorts.com/chatsports, and you'll get 20% off your order with that code CHATSPORTS. Reminder, that's code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. Support the show and show your thighs some respect with Chubby's. The link is clickable in the comments and description of this video. I highly encourage you to go get swagged out today. All right, let's have this conversation, because like I said, I don't think Demario Davis is the problem with the linebacker room whatsoever. I actually think that he's been a huge bright spot for New Orleans. And as I said a little bit ago, he's 8th in overall PFF grades among all linebackers. He has an 82.1 overall grade. That's really impressive. He has a 90.5 run defense grade. You'll go ahead and take that. 66.5 coverage grade. The pass rush grade isn't amazing, but, he's still a very serviceable player, and he's one of the best linebackers in the league. And I'm not going to sit here and say that you should listen to Pro Football Focus grades and take that to the bank and say this guy's the best thing to ever happen to the Saints defense. Because Pro Football Focus grades are a little bit subjective. They're a little bit based on opinions. We really don't know what exactly they're watching. We don't exactly know who is grading these things. So for what it's worth, take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, again, Demario Davis has been a really, really impactful player for the New Orleans Saints. And so before you have the conversation of trading or cutting Pete Werner, I want to just set the scene with, let's just start off with the basics. Should we bench him? Should he just get put as a backup for Danny Stutsman? I mean, it's no mystery that he has struggled in coverage. That's never really been a big strength of his. At least in my personal opinion. Maybe you disagree, and if you do, that's totally fine. I just think that he hasn't been somebody who's been ultra reliable as a coverage linebacker. He is second in tackles for the New Orleans Saints with 41 on the year so far. And remember, he etched a 3-year, $25 million contract in 2024, which guarantees $17.5 million. And why did they pay him? Because, as we said earlier, they believe that he would take a step. He is 5th in solo tackles across the National Football League with 27 of those. He's 15th in tackles across the NFL as a whole. But again, the Pro Football Focus grades, don't take it for what it is. Just use it as kind of a reference point. It hasn't been good. He does, however, have 16 stops, which is 8th in the National Football League. So in my opinion, I think that that is a positive to look at in terms of the statistics. However, he's just leaving a lot to be desired. He's leaving a lot of meat on the bone. And for a player that a lot of fans were really hoping would take that step, he just hasn't. And this isn't necessarily a hit piece on Pete Werner. I think that he is a player that I'd like to see be successful, and I am rooting for him to be good. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who's on the field. I care about this right here, the Florida Lee, the New Orleans Saints. So I don't care if Bobby Boucher is the linebacker. I don't care if it's Demario Davis. I don't care if it's Danny Stutsman. I just want to see my team be the best they possibly can be. And right now, I do not believe that Pete Werner is the best that the New Orleans Saints could possibly be. Of course, I could be wrong in that regard, but I just feel like there's so much more upside and so much more promise with Danny Stutsman that you should be focused on building for the future. You've gotten to see what's happened in the present day with Pete Werner. You have all of the past to refer to. I think that the decision is just easy to make when you want to talk about, is Danny Stutsman worthy of more reps? The answer is yes. I'm not saying that you have to absolutely take Pete Werner off the field, but come on. We should be rotating Danny Stutsman in much, much more. And let's take a look at the top-graded PFF linebackers. So Pete Werner, we did this on purpose here. Let's see number 1 through number 9. Demario Davis, shout out to him, number 8 on that list. Pete Werner, he is ranked 67th out of 74 linebackers according to the PFF positional grades. That's not good. Again, Demario Davis is far from the issue. The age is a factor for him, but that isn't much of a factor. He is getting old, but he's playing at a very, very high level. Pete Werner, on the other hand, he's younger. He's a player that should be breaking through, and he just really hasn't. And again, I don't think that the conversation around Pete Werner is, get him out of here, he's been a total disaster, he sucks, and us Saints fans hate him. That's not the conversation. The conversation is more so, how can we build for the future while still trying to make sure you're putting out a quality brand of football? And we've seen, like I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of these rookies take over. I mean, the only 2 rookies we haven't seen in game action, Lopez and I, actually, I mean, we've seen all of the rookies in game action, but the 2 you've seen the least, 3, I guess you could say, they've seen the least, Devin Neal, Tyler Shuck, and Danny Stutsman. I mean, you saw 1 drive from Tyler Shuck in week 3. You saw 4 snaps from Danny Stutsman in week 3, and then you saw a handful of carries from Devin Neal in week 1. So that's kind of the conversation around, let's go and not appeal to the youth, but let's go and push the youth and see what they got, because they are supposed to be taking over. So kind of getting back on track here, what do we do? You've probably read this graphic by now. If you want to keep him, well, he does become an unrestricted free agent in 2028, so you have him through the 2027 season. And hopefully he can improve, and hopefully he can take that step that we've all wanted him to see, or we've all wanted him to take, and we've all wanted to see him achieve. Jury's still out if he will or not. Do you want to cut him? I don't think that's a good idea. The New Orleans Saints don't save any money. You actually have a lot of dead money next year and in the following years and stuff like that, so I don't think that it makes any sense whatsoever to just straight up cut him. I know that there's a lot of fans out there that are like, screw it, cut him, whatever. there are financial implications. There are things that will screw the team more than help them if they just outright cut a lot of these dudes. But trading him, that is also an option, and the trade deadline is quickly approaching, and maybe that's a player if you're like, no, we're going to hold on to Demario Davis, but we are willing to shop one linebacker. Maybe a team could go and shop for Pete Werner, and if you were to trade for him, the Saints would save in 2025, $1.17 million. He has a cap hit of just under $8 million in 2026. And in 2027, his cap hit raises to about $8.2 million. So there's a conversation to be had about what to do with Pete Werner, and I want you to let me know what you're thinking. What should the Saints do with Pete Werner? We went through the scenarios of keeping, cutting, and trading. What's the best option in your eyes? Let me know. And if you say cut, that's not the best option. Now, I think that the best option is trading away Pete Werner. I don't think that he's a player that is a part of the long-term plans because in my personal opinion, I think that Isaiah Stallbird, Jalen Ford, and Danny Stutsman all have a lot of juice, and they are very exciting players, and they have a lot of energy, and I think that they can be key contributors to the defense. And so when I say why would I trade Pete Werner, I think that you can get younger. I think you can recoup some draft capital. And I think that the New Orleans Saints could look to prioritize these three players here to, including Demario Davis, factoring him in. But you could pick two of these linebackers right here to really prioritize and start getting heavily rotated in as the season continues to progress. And I think that would be an excellent decision in terms of helping the development for some of these players. Because reminder, the New Orleans Saints don't need to focus on winning a Super Bowl right now. That's not going to happen. And newsflash, you're not even going to win the division. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to come back to this video and say, what an idiot. But realistically, the New Orleans Saints need to focus on the future. They need to stop worrying about what's going to happen this week and what's going to happen this season. They need to focus more about how can we get to a high level of success moving forward in the future. Because I think year 2 and year 3 under Kellen Moore is going to be drastically improved compared to year 1. So that's my take. Those are my thoughts. I think Danny Stutsman deserves more time, and I think that the New Orleans Saints should consider moving on from Pete Werner to open up the ability to give Danny Stutsman more reps. Thank you guys for watching today's video. We will have more content coming at you later on today. We'll actually be live later on today, Lopez. Forgot to mention that. We're going to be live at 3 p.m. Central Time. So I hope to see you guys there. Make sure your notifications are on. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be getting ready for this Saints-Patriots matchup. Hope to see y'all at the live show. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you later.